Inside Disc Golf.
Hello and welcome to Inside Disc Golf. Andrew Gum here in Disc Golf Stream Studios. Very excited to bring you two special guests today. We have the head coaches of the Finnish and Swedish national teams, and they're both top-level trainers, world-class at what they do. We have Joonas Merelä from the Finnish side and Johan Sleman from the Swedish side. Hello and welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
How's it going today?
It's going pretty good. We have rest from the camp, and now it's back to the work, and I think I'm fine.
Yeah, I think this is the first day I feel recovered.
Yeah,
and it's Wednesday now for everyone who's watching.
Yep. Yeah. So I guess if you haven't seen yet the special edition documentary series we did about the international training camp, I would highly recommend you go check that out. There's a lot of really interesting stuff to see there. And then last weekend you had the second edition where the Finnish players went over to Sweden and did the second stop on this really cool training camp that you're doing with the national teams. So we're going to get into a lot of that during the episode, but before we do that, let's give the viewers a little bit of a background about yourselves. If you can just tell us a little bit about where you came from and what you do.
All right. So I'm Joonas Merelä, and I'm from Espoo, but living now in Helsinki. And I'm 31 years old, and I've been working now with the disc golfers. This is fourth year working now with the disc golfers, and my background is from my own sport background is from ice hockey and floorball. And then when I was at school in 2015, I started play disc golf as well. And then when the school was almost over, I thought, okay, this could be pretty interesting to work with the sport where there is nothing, like no science and stuff like that. So it has been fun, and here we are now.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah,
go
ahead.
No, go ahead, Andrew.
I was just going to say you're widely regarded as the top trainer for disc golf in Finland, and working with a lot of the top athletes. So it's a really great resource for the community that you're able to help all these young athletes, be the best they can be.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the sport is it's growing, and we are going to the right direction for sure.
Absolutely. Johan, yes, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, it's my turn. Yes, my name is Johan Sleman. I'm 36 years old, living in Uppsala at the moment, but was born in Västervik. Västervik is an old disc golf town in Sweden. I've been playing disc golf since 1998. I grew up at a course at the 18th hole in Västervik, actually. So the sport has been with me since very long. I remember Anders Svärd, he actually came running out trying to get me down from a basket because I wanted to see if I fit in one when I was young. So it goes back a long way. I'm a sports physical therapist today. I've been working with the national team in Sweden and the talent group for a couple of years now. I became the head coach last year, and I've been into sports, been doing ice hockey while I was doing disc golf as well for many years. I had a couple of years without disc golf in my life, but more or less it's been there always.
Oh, really cool. Yeah. So one of the OGs of the sport, and you were using the basket as a jungle gym as a child, and one of the top Swedish players had to come give you a bit of a scolding. That's a pretty funny story.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really great to have you guys here, and I'm really impressed and happy with what you guys are doing together. We're coming up with that idea, and I guess just kind of maybe tell us a little bit about where it all started and what you were looking to achieve.
Yeah. So me and Joonas, we found each other. I think it was last year, spring last year.
March.
Yeah, March. Joonas is one of the best, I would say, therapists in the field of disc golf. And when I found him, I noticed he's doing quite similar stuff to what we're doing with talent groups and junior groups. And I reached out and said, hey, you want to do something like this together instead? I mean, we could put our resources together and build something that is maybe larger than we can produce ourselves individually. So that's really how it began. And Joonas, you felt like this was a good idea. We shared knowledge, we shared like methods, and we started building something. And you want to say something, Joonas, about it?
Yeah, I think that was how it was, and I think both of us we have felt both like we are kind of lonely on this field, because like there is no many people who has worked with the disc golfers like years or doing this job, and then like I felt almost immediately like this is like good stuff with Johan, and we can share everything with each other. So I think that's like our relationship has went up in this almost past year. So
yeah, I think we talk with each other every day for a year.
So you developed a solid friendship, and it's clearly mutually beneficial and also very, very inspirational for the rest of the world as well. You guys are clearly paving the road for a more professional future in the sport, and it's a great example to show for other countries looking to help support their young athletes to become better disc golfers and better people.
Yeah, and I think there is, like, of course there is me and Johan, but there's also like association, both countries' associations, where like they are also in this program, and we talk with the association guys a lot. Like, except Leo has been Leo Piironen, he has been into this, like in our group, me, Johan, and Leo, we have worked together a lot. So that's
we could never have done this alone.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, it takes a lot of people's time and energy, and really, really cool that you've been able to organize it and put together that kind of team to help make it happen.
Yeah, and we still need more. We need still more
resources.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. This is the first year that it's taken place, so you're off to a great start and building towards a really great future. But yeah, if you're listening out there and there's something you can do to help, reach out to these guys, and I'm sure they'd be happy to have your support.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, let's get into a little bit of the nitty gritty about what's taken place last weekend. Can you, or I guess first let's start with a little bit about the data. Like, what did you find out after the first, like between the first and second camp? What are you able to share with us as far as the data analysis goes?
Yeah, so looking back, when you guys were visiting us, we had not yet analyzed any of the data, right? So we can really speak about it. Now, there is quite significant amount of tests we're doing while they're there. I mean, it's everything from jumping tests to functional movement screening. We do strength, 1 rep maxes. We do agility tests, so T-test. med ball throws where we measure the speed they're able to throw a medicine ball, basically. And then we have the putting tests and the accuracy throw. And within those, there are a number of like data points we look at. For example, with the accuracy throw, we measure the radar speed and we tell the players they need to be above 90% of their max speed while they're throwing. And they're supposed to hit a square that is 1.5 meters times 1.5 meter, 15 meters away to get a target hit. And they get 10 tries when they throw. And we then measure the radar speed to see if they're above the 90%, like I said. While we do that, we also measure the rotational speed, so rotation speed of the chest of the players. And also then what we can do with that data is look into how consistent they are in their movement. So if you take 10 throws and you make that into one, how much is each throw diverging from the sort of average from all of them? And we do pretty much the same with putting, but there we can also look into stuff like besides consistency then, that is really divided into two sections. It's the rhythm part and it's the angular consistency. We have now also been able to look at speed and spin averages for each player, so we can get like a map of the group that is throwing. How much spin and how much speed are they putting out their putts in? And then also what nose angle and what hyzer angle do they release the disc at? So these kind of things is good for us to understand. And for example, we can then look at these numbers and compare them to rating, for example, or max speed, how fast they throw the disc. And if some of the findings we found in Finland was that throwing speed correlates to a high degree with rating, but more so for the female group than the male group.
Okay, interesting.
So throwing speed seems to be more important for the female group than the male group. And for the male group, the FMS, so functional movement screening scores, and the 1 rep max correlates to about 80% with their speed. And
in the camp, we didn't measure 1 rep max. So that's we measured 3rd or 5, like in the strength test.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we calculated them out to 1 rep max.
Sure.
And for example, the female group, then we can also see that the 1 rep max, so basically their strength is correlating to a high degree with rating. Not as much for the male group. So in terms of findings there, you can say that strength seems to be important for the female group. So what can we do with that kind of data? We can then put our focus and allocate more resources and investigate more onto those topics, like what makes a good female player and what makes a good male player.
Yeah, really, really important stuff and very interesting findings.
Yeah, and I think the players have had not used to get data, so we need to be carefully and try to get to data to the players like understandable way. So and we need to try, of course, do our best to help the players. So because that's our, and of course both associations' goals to help our players. So that's for the future. That's a lot work for us also.
Right, just to figure out the best way to communicate and help them, to like incorporate the changes necessary, right?
Yeah, and on an individual level, we've also been looking at the symmetries. So, for example, when you throw the med ball, are you symmetrical on the left and the right side? And if you're not, we have then worked with the players to get them more symmetrical in their work schedule off season.
Right, so that they're more balanced in their symmetrical strength and.
Yeah.
And of course, if there is players who throw only backhand or they throw only forehand, of course there's like they are not not balanced. That's totally normal, and that's how the human body works. But I think like interesting is looking for the players in that way. If like how can we help them if someone is missing, like someone is missing strength or someone is missing speed, how we can put that like to the how we can take the topics out and then get the data to the players and say, okay, and now you can do this, and now you can focus this, and then we'll see in the future how the players can use the data and use the knowledge to get their level even more higher than where they are now.
Yeah, worth mentioning here also is the work that Joonas does. He's really a specialist in shoulders, disc golf shoulders. So when we measure the players back in Finland, their external and their internal rotation, there are certain numbers you can look at and say, hey, okay, this individual is at risk of getting injured. And a majority of the players who we assessed are, or were at least, at the risk of getting injured while we measured them in Finland. So this was a huge we really need to start focusing on the rehab side or preventative rehab side for these players. And also on a broader perspective, this is something that we can also work towards bringing out to the public.
Right. Yeah, it can be enormously beneficial, for the individuals, and then if that can be extracted and shared with a wider audience, then it could really make a huge difference in the world for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think the disc golf field, like from the injury side, like I've been working with now 4 years with the disc golfers, and what I have seen, there's in the field, there's a lot of injuries, like stress injuries, and some of are not serious, but there is serious injuries as well in the field, and so that's like I think when the couple more years when the time goes on, then we know even more how where this sport is going and how the injuries are in this sport. But I think we have good data, and we have good knowledge what type of injuries is usually common in this sport, and how you can take the risk level down a little bit.
Great stuff. Sure. Yeah. I guess the season's getting longer and maybe more intensive, and especially in the States, they're expected to throw much further and more often. So I think this type of injury prevention can be really, really important for basically everybody.
Yeah, this was the major topic we held in the lectures in Sweden now. It was on fatigue and basically tissue, how the tissues are in the body are affected by throwing. The load, so like the volume and the intensity. If you imagine a player going to a tournament and they're going to play for 3 days, there's actually a substantial amount of throws they're doing in a short period of time. And if you add to that, you know, the pre-routines, when they throw the course, they get to know the course, and then maybe they meet up with their friends and they want to go for another round. And sometimes, you know, the day before throwing, they've already gone the course like 3 rounds. And they don't really understand what impact that has on performance or the risk of injury. So we've been working on a model that is based on risk assessment at work. It's called Duet. So basically looking into what the accumulative effect is on throwing. So both drives, upshots, putts, and then showing them, okay, it's a cool down maybe after a tournament of 4 to 5 days before you actually recovered from an event like that. So the players can then use this model to predict a little, or plan and predict a little bit what impact the throwing is going to have on them, and when they should actually be thinking about recovery and the positive effects that can have on your performance.
Yeah, super important information when you're, you know, planning your schedule and understanding what your limits are and what the potential risks are by overdoing it, you know, in some cases. And yeah, like you said, you know, the practice is a really big deal. You want to be, you know, in fine form for the event, and you want to know the course well. And some events have, you know, multiple courses, so, you know, all that practice leading up, you want to, this information can be very, very helpful in, you know, planning out that kind of pre-event routines and everything required.
And I think, like, if I look like a stress injuries, they are like how could I, like silence injuries. Like you don't feel them.
Right.
Like you feel when it starts, you feel it. Okay, now I have like little bit of shoulder pain. And then if you don't notice that, you start playing, and then the tissue got even more eaten, and then it can be like more serious trouble. And
right.
that's like what most disc golfers, but we don't understand yet, like how the rest and how the actually playing, how we could balance with the rest and throwing, and, you know, in the high performance level. So that's what we try to say to the players and give them the tools, like how they can be even better than the last year.
Yeah, that's great. So they can develop healthy practices and habits that will prolong their career and improve their health overall. Really, really great stuff. So yeah, is anything else about the physical side or those data collection that you'd like to share at the moment?
I think from last camp we saw players they have been done work, so there was a lot of success from the players side. So that was, like, I was happy to see the players to perform better in the test. Of course, we don't test the players because we want data and stuff like that. So, like, but it was nice to see there was players who have taken the next step, like kind of next step for physically, and of course in the throwing side.
Yeah. So
and I think the trend is really going towards understanding how important off season is. You know, a lot of them have now focused their efforts on working out and workout routines to build up for the on season. Now, our work also during this weekend was to convert what they've done in the off season to the on season, so they can prolong the positive effects from the workout that they've been doing. You know, if you just stop working out and you just throw during the on season, you're gonna finally lose what you've gained. So maintaining the level that they're at has been one of the bigger topics now. Building a on-season workout schedule that is not. We're not talking about doing the same amount of volume or the same amount of weights as you did during the off season, but it's really just a program to maintain what they've gained throughout the season.
Yeah, it sounds really, really good, really important that they continue to, maintain that, all those gains. And of course, there must be, like, you don't want to overdo it, but it's good that you guys can help them develop a program so they're in the right zone about how much, like weight room work to do during the on season. And really great to hear that everybody was working hard in the off season. That was one thing that I noticed. People were really excited and motivated about the program because it's being part of something bigger and easier to kind of get yourself up to do the work. And when it's going to be, there's going to be another test and there's other top level athletes that are also involved in the program, so it can really help motivate and push people to put in that hard work in the off season.
Yeah, of course, and that's what we saw, and I'm really proud from Swedish and Finnish players for they have took this seriously, and they have put effort for workouts and training, and so at least I'm happy from the Finnish and Swedish side, like how I saw how the players have done in past 3 months.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to hearing their response as the season starts. Mid-season, hopefully they have more energy than they used to. Hopefully they don't feel the strain that touring has on them.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of things I'm really looking forward to, and of course seeing results in terms of a reduction of throws in their competitions as well.
Right. Yeah. Great to see that improvement already, and it'll be really exciting to see how all that hard work translates into success during the season. And less throws, like you said, and less injuries, and all kinds of great benefits for what you're doing, for sure. And it's a great opportunity and a huge resource for those players that are getting this kind of attention from you guys, because you really, really clearly know what you're doing, and you're working really hard to constantly improve everything.
Yeah, I think in our side we are just started this kind of job, and I think the future after this camp, the future is more easy for us also because we learn a lot in this like a year. So I think for the future it's more easy for us to plan everything and like think about how we can be better from players' side, how we can help them more and stuff like that. So I think that's the feedback we have got from players. It's also important.
Yeah, another thing that is good to mention as well is that the sport is growing, but not each individual have the capacity or the opportunity to focus 100% on disc golf.
Yep.
There are a couple of players who really can do that, and their world and their disc golf related routines look way different than it does for the majority, actually. the majority still have to do maybe 7 to 4 kind of works, or even working nights, etc. So trying to build something that is individual for each situation is of importance right now as the sport is continuing to grow. I hope in 5 years we're gonna see a lot more players being able to focus 100% on their career, the disc golf career.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And I think if we look 5 years ago, in Finland we had like couple of professional players, like couple, and now we have maybe 10 or even more, like who can call this a job. They don't do anything else. So I think that's also a good sign for the players. They can put every hour from their day to the disc golf, and so that's how I have seen it in Finland during the past years. So we have more like professional players who don't do anything than play disc golf and train.
Yeah, it's great if they can fully commit to the game, and that's the next step. If it's becoming this type of professional sport, that people, if they want to succeed, they're going to need that amount of time, and the less distractions you have, then the better.
How it when you were in the first camp, how does it feel from your side, and how did you say what your thoughts are from the first camp?
That was a wonderful experience. That was really cool to see, up close and personal, the players and the program, what you guys had built, and it already felt like it was, on a very, very high professional level. Like it was kind of surprising and impressive that it was already so well organized. How it felt from my end, that like you guys really had a solid understanding of what you wanted to do, and you were really executing it, really, really beautifully. And there was quite a buzz. You could tell the players were excited. It was a new experience, and it was something special that they felt to be a part of. There was a lot of pride I could sense from everybody, all the individuals, and then collectively there was something else happening. There was like a community team building type of a scenario taking place, and that was really, really cool to see. Something that was very new for me as far as disc golf goes. I hadn't kind of felt that type of social type of energy before. So yeah, it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, that's awesome, Andrew. Thank you. I think you brought something up there that was worth mentioning now too, is that we did a workshop with the players in Stockholm now, where we actually focused on this thing, team building. So the sport as a whole is a very individual thing, right? The players themselves, they're competing against each other, most of them. But we had a workshop to maybe introduce them to the idea or the concept of being a team, and what the benefits can be for the individual if they're part of a team. So where can collaboration take them, basically? So we did I think 3 to 4 hours with that on the Friday. And then eventually he moved over to breathing exercises, and they learned how to cope with stressful events. So, as a disc golfer, in your career, you're going to have events where you're performing really well on a high level. You're up there, final round, and stress or negative thoughts, negative self-talk comes up, right? So we focused on tools that they can use when they're experiencing this type of anxiety, and to sort of trigger that feeling, they had to go into ice cold water this time to really squeeze out that anxiety in them. And I think it had a profound effect for some of the individuals just to understand that, okay, with methods, I can overcome something that I fear, you know? And once they're in a situation later on where this is popping up, they know, okay, I have a tool at least to cope with it.
Yeah, that's really important. And the breathing, you know, so it's like such an important thing, and that's a great way to deal with those stressful moments. And I think that's a huge part of the game, isn't it? You know, when you're standing over that putt, and you know there's hundreds of people there watching you, and maybe there's live cameras, maybe there's, you know, there's going to be a lot of stress and anxiety going on in those moments. And so anything you can do to help players learn how to cope with that is going to be, you know, really beneficial.
Yeah, I think the psychological side it is a huge part of the game, and that's the side what me and Johan we have wanted to bring to the players, and to they have tools to how to handle the situations, and how to, you know, how they can handle stress, and what even the stress is. So most of the people probably don't know what is stress and how to deal with it. So, but if I'm looking at the other side, the stress can be beneficial in the competition also. So you can have more boost from it. So that's
right.
also the other side.
Right. So it's great for them to learn how to turn that into a fuel in order to really light their fire instead of, you know, be crippled by fear. And I think it's, that's definitely a big psychological advantage if you're able to function in those high pressure situations.
But I think overall this camp, the last weekend camp was even more successful than the first camp, and I think we did better job than the last camp. We noticed a couple of things, and we fixed. And the place where we were at this time in Sweden, the place was, I think it was awesome. There was pretty good facilities for everything. So I think the Finnish player liked a lot the place where we were in last weekend. So huge plus for the Swedish side.
Great job. Yeah, and it's learning experience, right? So you're improving as you grow or as you go, and as it grows, I guess it's just going to get better and better, hopefully. And well, I'm sure it will. With you guys behind, and hopefully more and more support from the associations and other facilities. And really glad to hear it was such a success. Sorry.
Thank you. So we've already been getting interest from other countries to join this kind of camp, and I think the future will of these kind of collaborations. We have to think broader than just Sweden and Finland, and create something where more participation is possible. You know, we're pretty much at the cap right now with 30 somewhat individuals, 32 maybe, and it takes a lot of effort and space just to have all of those individuals doing that and making it work. So I think now for us, it's figuring out a way to make this more broad, where we can include more individuals into the whole collaboration.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it's. I think same way as Johan. So it's, let's see where the future take us.
It'll be exciting to follow. Has there been any thoughts from your side or emphasis on the media angle? Like, are you thinking about how to help teach players how to cope with some of the media attention and obligations? I know it's kind of a minor thing, but as the sport gets more professional and the media side grows, has there been any thoughts about incorporating that type of a training into the camp?
Yeah, we had that discussion actually with the Swedish team during the camp this weekend. A lot of the players, they can look up to the Finnish and in terms of social media and media as well. They're on the Finnish side, they're more exposed to media than we are here, and there's a lot to learn from that, because from an individual's perspective, having followers and creating content on social media is something that can be beneficial for them when it comes to contract writing with their sponsors. If you can be a pretty good disc golfer, but if you don't have any followers, it's going to be a little bit tougher. So it's definitely something we've been focusing on. We haven't directly had any social media expert coming in and helping us, but we're making every player aware of the fact that this is something they should try at least to incorporate to their own brand, basically, because that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important element of the whole success, especially financially, when you're looking for big contracts and ways to connect to your market,
Mm.
And I think if we look at, if I'm looking in the Finnish side, in Finland we have a lot of social media action going on. Like, if I'm not looking at the pro players, but we have a lot of young players, like players who are not, like, people don't know them, like actually, like the pro players don't know them, but they have actually in the social media, they have already amount of followers, and they do the TikTok and YouTube and stuff like that, and they are like 13 to 15. So they have started the planning and they have started planning, and they have already followers there before they are even in a junior tour in Finland.
Mm.
So we have a lot of young players in the social media. Of course we have a lot of pro players who are like big huge name in the social media as well. And people, when they walking in the malls and grocery stores or training centers, like, people notice them, like, hey, you are that guy, can I take photo? So that's how it in Finland, like right now. They are the top names. They are like kind of rock stars in Finland, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. It's become quite a mainstream sport here in Finland, and with that comes celebrity status for the top players. And so, yeah, I guess it's a learning process on how to deal with all of that in itself. And so it's kind of funny because in Finland, it doesn't really have that type of culture for most other things. Like you could see someone famous and people don't really approach them usually. So, but I think the disc golf audience is quite young and they're so enthusiastic that I think they're maybe a little bit more likely to approach a top pro. So I think that's kind of a situation that's currently unique to Finland in that sense, that they're so well known from the mainstream society, and it creates an interesting dynamic, I guess.
It's funny. My uncle, he doesn't know anything about disc golf, and he sent me all the time. He sent me videos where is Finnish top players to play disc golf, and then he said, "Oh, you are there also. I have seen videos about you and stuff like that." And so that's like, I think that's funny too. Like the people who doesn't follow disc golf and don't know anything, the videos and stuff like goes their daily life, and they can find the media as well.
Yeah, so even regular people are exposed to disc golf media just because it's so prevalent, I guess.
Yeah, and it's pretty big thing in Finland right now. So it has grown a lot in a couple of years.
Yeah, I would say the same thing is going on a little bit in Sweden as well. Each year we have something called SM-veckan, which is basically a national event for many sports that is divided onto a week. So the camera people of the national TV here, they're at different events filming, and I think for 2 years in a row, disc golf has been one of the top sports people have been watching.
Yeah.
So it's moving in the right direction here as well. It's just not as fast, perhaps, as in Finland.
But that's great to hear. Great to hear that it's growing there as well. And I think it's sort of happening in a lot of places. Yeah, maybe not quite to the level yet that Finland's got it going on, but definitely a growing sport and an incredibly fun sport that we all really enjoy and love. Yeah. I guess so. I guess now a lot of the attention is probably focused on helping communicate the information to the players about how to maintain their strength and conditioning throughout the season. But what are the next steps as far as the training camp goes? What are you guys planning, or what are you foreseeing for the future?
I think now we need to work with the data and get the help for the individual to the on season, but then we need to collect the feedback from the players and talk with the associations and think about how we can think about the next year, or even like how we can deal with the next steps, like what we need to do and what we want to do.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So one of the tougher things for disc golfers is that they're traveling quite a lot during the on season. So the off season for them, it's nice not to have to travel that much. So we're probably going to look into something where we can maybe locally do stuff and then gather up for some other things. But it's still being a collaboration. Having it that same weekend, having the lectures at the same time. So really making it more efficient for everyone. I think those kind of things. Sweden and Finland, it's quite close, but if you take into account that you might have to take the boat, you have to add 2 extra travel days just to get here and back.
And then, like in Finnish or even Swedish, the people, like, they are traveling to the boat around of the country. So it's not like they are in Helsinki and then we go. So they need to go first to the harbor or airplane, the
train. Yeah.
Airport.
Yeah, airport. Yeah. So
yeah.
So that's also a lot of traveling to the players.
Right. So just a little bit of planning about logistics and trying to find a way that's the most efficient as far as structure and organizing the future events. Yeah,
exactly. And perhaps spending more time than throwing together, more throwing specific. I mean, the strength test, they can really be performed anywhere. It's not necessary for them to meet up for something like that. We had a great opportunity now at Bosön, where we were this weekend, because they have a disc golf course right next to it. So
nice.
We could spend some hours throwing with the players as well. And I think that's where they can benefit a lot from meeting up in the off season and practicing together as well. but it's still in the works. We still have to discuss how the logistics of everything would look. I think us getting together and doing this first round, our first cycle, has been a tremendous help, not only for us but also for the community and the associations, like understanding how to build up something like this, where you try to find evidence for what type of tests, for example, that works with disc golf. What factors are actually important, both for performance and also for injury reduction.
Yeah,
and I think if we are in 5 years, if we are in the same collaboration, and the situation can be like, if we talk with Johan in 2028, then we can say, okay, what the hell we did in 2024 or 23. So it can be this, it can be changed, the test can be changed, the science goes forward, we know more, the players get know more, the sport is growing and new stuff is coming. So I think this, of course, there is also base, like a base where you build. You don't have to like create a bike again. Of course, there is a sports science behind all this, and sport medicine stuff, but still we don't have any specific evidence from the disc golf, like where we don't have a platform where we can create this stuff. Like it's like finding things and looking up what are maybe the main things we need to look for, and then we need to test in the field with the players, and that there's a lot of work and a lot of thinking on our side, but also from the players side.
Yeah, really well said. It's a long process of building a structure, and you're kind of at the point where you're just laid down a really solid foundation, and once that foundation is laid, then you build on top of that, and you don't have to go back and redo the foundation, though. You build up and move forward. So I think that's a great metaphor and a really good point.
But I think overall, like this collaboration is, as I look in the Finnish side, the Finnish players liked it a lot, like the national team, and of course we don't have had any group before, and we don't have had any this type of camp. So the players like it a lot. They can hang out in the off season and do work together, and of course there is like a good amount Sweden and Finnish like competition side in the camps. Of course there's a like little bit extra as well.
Yeah, a little rivalry there, which is great to have. That's it brings out the best in everybody.
Yeah, and I think it's for the Swedish side, the Swedish coach Johan need to play more next year, so he can beat the Finnish coach.
You guys have a coach battle?
Yeah, you mean the team? I thought you meant that I haven't been able to beat you on the course yet, but that I have.
So there's a little rivalry between the coaches as well. That's great to see.
Yeah, the coaches. We did a double, Joonas and Leo, and me and Martin. But it was really snowy and slippery with my shoes. So yeah. But as an individual, Joonas, you haven't beat me yet.
We have played how many rounds? 2 rounds.
Tampere. That's the only round. But it's coming, I'm sure.
That's cool. And it was nice to hear that Finland got revenge in the putting competition as well. I know that was something that was really important for you, Joonas.
Yeah, it was. And for the Leo was sweating there like a lot, and he were there like.
Yeah.
It was fun in the putting competition. We had a 5 players, and Swedish side they had only 1 guy, and the Swedish guys won those. Can you explain, Johan, how that went? Because I think I don't have English.
Yeah, so we had the female group and the male group. You could get 1 point from each group. And at one round, the ladies, the Swedish ladies got a 0, the Finnish got a 1. And then it was just us waiting for the Finns to win that round. They had 5 players left and we had 1. And he was able to beat them all.
Wow. Okay.
So the competition actually it got prolonged so much that we almost didn't get to eat because it was even after even, so they just had to redo it over and over until we had the sudden death.
Okay, so it was a really tight battle after all.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really cool. And it's great to see and hear that you're having so much fun with this thing. I know it's a really important thing that can, have a lot of benefits, but it can also be a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to beating them.
That's great. We're running out of time, but before we go, you kind of touched a little bit on how the technology is going to improve over time as the learning process goes. I see you're both wearing those SenseBlend hats. Can you tell us a little bit about where the technology is at now and this program that you guys that you have created with SenseBlend?
Yeah. So we've had a great opportunity to do these kind of measurements with really the top layer in the world. Now, as many know, SenseBlend is a tool that gives sound feedback to movement, basically. So biofeedback to your movement, where we shape the sound depending on how you're diverging from what you say is a good putt. Now, an extension of this would be to get more data from it, of course. We do tell the players to what level they correlate, or their consistency level, basically. I think the future will be somewhat of a launch monitor in golf, where you can directly see what hyzer angle you're releasing at, what nose angle, how consistent you are at that. For throwing, it would be more focused on rotational speed, how consistently you're delivering the same type of movement in terms of angles, and also the timing of them. From that perspective, it's basically taking what we've learned now from these type of players and delivering it out something that everyone can benefit from. So that's the collaboration we have. We get to develop our things, and we get access to the best players.
Super cool, and really, really neat to see those AI images that you've created as well to show kind of the form and what's happening there.
Yeah, so AI is getting really good at reading motions from videos, and it's not far from getting this into real time as well. You can see already with like AR kit, so artificial reality kit for iPhones. They can model your movement. You can have a 3D model representation in real time as you move.
Wow.
And I think it's super exciting to see, usually back in my days, I had to do this with mocap. When I was studying, I did mocap on throwing to get a 3D representation of a throw. From a video angle, you only get that one angle.
Right.
And with AI now, you're able to to get that 3D model of the movement. You still have to make some corrections to help it, but give it a couple of years and you won't need any mocap. You just need a video and you'll have a perfect 3D model of a person moving. And then, of course, what is exciting about that is that you can use the model to measure, for example, rotational speed. So you don't need any sensors really. You can work on that model itself. And I think just comparing and seeing individual players, like we saw Ricky and Paul compared in a putt, you can see similarities in their putting behavior. And I think with that, you can, when you sort of make a default human out of it and you look at their movement, they have their signature, and you can start seeing patterns more easily between players when they're compared from the right angles. And I think we can start to learn even more. And my hope is that we're going to have some kind of hub where, you know, there's quite a lot of prominent individuals out there giving form tips, technique tips, and there's no place where everything has been gathered yet. And that's also something I think is of importance. Just, you know, being able to scroll through all the info that is out there, what everyone is saying, what do they think is important in terms of stance, in terms of grip, etc. I think it's an exciting time for disc golf, especially.
Yeah,
and in the baseball side, they are using the AI in the like MLB or the NCAA in
those leagues.
Those leagues. So they have, I think one of the software, they have like 3,000 users, like baseball hitters and pitchers. And they have compared it to the real mocap. So it's close. It's really close to the real mocap. Of course, the real mocap can be like, there is more specific, but it's really close. But it's also like if you look at technology, where has it now? It's kind of, there's a lot of technology, but I think we need to learn how to use it and how to get the players know. Like I think that's the hardest part from if I'm looking player, like how to get the players know, like how your body works, how to use your hips, how to use front leg, how to use back leg, how you use your core, how to use your arm and stuff like that. Where the rotation you need to create, where you need to create a force, where you need to stabilize, what muscle groups are important, like the acceleration, decelerations, stabilizers and stuff like that. So I think that's a lot of work for us, and of course the professionals, to understand the biomechanics and injuries. And of course, like I think a lot of players in this time, they think like throwing far and stuff like that. Like I think it's really on top in Finland. Like people think, okay, I need to throw same kind of speed as Kuoksa, or they want to be like Kuoksa, but they don't have capacity, and they put their body risk of injury to try to work on the speed and power, and they don't know how the body works, and then they can have serious injuries, like stress trauma injuries in back or shoulder or stuff like that. So that's also we need to be careful with what we put out to the community. Like of course, like I get a lot of message in Instagram and like people ask, what is the best exercise for the power? What is the best exercise for the speed? Like if I would give those advice in the social media, I think we would have hundreds or more injuries, because I don't know how the individual work.
Right. And there's no shortcuts to that type of
yeah, there is no
strength,
like there is no magic pills to like most of those players who are strong and they are power, like they can produce power and they can produce speed. They have worked many years and they have had like it's kind of a learning process in throwing. It's like a modern learning process. You need to know how your body works. You need to what are the like your good features and where like what I can do more to get the more power or speed or capacity to my throwing profile.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, and of course there is a lot of like online there's a lot of now anyone can be disc golf coach in this field. So for the community, be careful in the social media and in the YouTube. That's my advice.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, really well said. It's, cutting edge stuff with the technology and the practical application as far as getting that applied to the player. Yeah, is of utmost importance that it's done in a way that's safe and healthy for everybody. But yeah, like you said, it'd be great to have that kind of a hub as well, where everything's quite accessible and gathered together, so people can really learn how to do things right and what's the best process in order to get yourself to where you want to be. So yeah, I guess that was amazing. Great. Thank you so much for sharing all that stuff. You guys are doing really important work, and keep up the great work. But before we go, is there anything you'd like to say in closing, or anybody you'd like to thank or anything?
Yeah, I think directly the first thing I'm thinking about is all the players and the effort they're putting into this. Second would be all the assistants that we've had on the camps. They're doing a tremendous job. And the associations, of course, with each individual helping us out to make the logistics work for something like this. And then it's really nice to be sort of in this situation that we are, with disc golf moving as fast as it is. I think Joonas touched on something that is really important, and I think it sort of relates or correlates to what is going on with the sport growing. They look at YouTube videos and they think they can whip the disc away like Eagle can. And they try to replicate that, and that directly is a bad thing. That is just take it easy. Start with standstills, get that right, and then move up to steps, to more harder throws. That's something I want to tell.
And grow your strength and speed and power base same time.
Right, balanced.
Like if you look at our best players and those players who throw hardest, they are not weak.
Not at all.
They can handle the load.
Yeah. But
right.
in my side, of course, I want same thing. I want to huge thanks for the players, of course, Swedish and Finnish players, of course, and then to the Johan and Leo, big thanks for the both guys. and we have had I think we have had a great time, and we have had great learning process going on. And I think for as a person, me, Johan, and Leo, we have like grown a lot in this past year. And for the associations, of course, I want to thank the both associations for giving us this opportunity to create like new things. And the sport culture is it's still young, but we are going to the right direction. That's my thoughts, and they are my thoughts. We are going to the right direction for the sport, and the knowledge what we can get from this kind of camps and stuff like that. They are super important for the sport, and of course to the individuals, of course. So that's our main goal, to help the individuals.
All right, wonderful. You guys are doing really great stuff to grow the sport and push the professionalism forward. So thanks, big thanks for everything that you're doing, and keep up the great work. And thank you very much for taking your time to come share all this with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Inside Disc Golf. We'll see you next time.
Inside Disc Golf, the European Disc Golf podcast. Everything about European disc golf in one podcast.